Welcome to the Deep Six podcast, where we make a generational impact on you and yours. What we do here is explore a 6-point model into your health, your life, and your journey while you're here. So let's dive deep and help you thrive, not just survive. Well, hello. Welcome to the Deep Six podcast here. Dr. Lewerenz here from Longevity Health Institute, welcoming Jack Fallon. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Because you are a buddy. You're a friend. You know. And besides, solid,
right.
pumping it, yeah. Right. But no, thank you, and welcome to the podcast here. You know, I know you know, but the Deep Six, you know, is a pillar, a foundational kind of a system that we use. You know, so that's why it's called that, and we explore things. And one of the things why I'm excited to bring you in is I love your background story, which we'll get into. But you also it's kind of nice because I think actually I'm pretty sure you believe in the model.
I think I'm the number one client.
Well, you're my only client. Yeah, but I appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, but yes, you are a patient as well as your family and all that. But we'll get into that and all that. But anyway, Jack Fallon, welcome. Jack's from southeastern Michigan. Yep. Right. Born and raised.
Born and raised. East Side man. I love it. And then you know you're going to tell your story, but. I didn't know this, by the way, for a few years. You know, I think we maybe had lunch or something a few years ago, and you said you kind of, you know, I was like, so what do you do again? What's TLC? So, but I'll have you tell your story. But you came from, I love this, especially when I looked at your bio online, which I kind of knew, but I was just like, it's just funny to read it in print. Yeah. So from, you know, Ford Motor Company assembly line. Yeah. In 1999, right? Yep.
To building a global brand of TLC, Total Life Changes, and started in your garage, right?
Basement.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So at least you're warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us, man, how the hell did that happen?
I know it's well, working on the assembly line. It's not the the best job.
Yeah. It's pretty. And how old were you roughly?
I keep saying my partner and I got hired in, I think we were like 19, 20. Mm-hmm. You know, fresh out of high school.
So the brain not developed.
Nope.
Knowing nothing.
Nope.
Getting into a lot of trouble.
Exactly. And nepotism is big there. So, you know, what are your, my parents, grandparents all worked there. And they said, okay, well, you know, it's your turn basically. Yeah. You know, and they paint the picture of, 30 years, pension, great benefits. You can raise a family and live a good life. Yeah. So we got in there and we just started, working, and it's a repetitive all day long. Right. We started working on the escort seats, I believe, if you remember that. Yeah. Yeah. Started building those escort seats. Yeah. And in the back of my mind, I always wanted a little more, right? This can't be it.
Can't be it.
This just can't be it. Especially because you're working with, we were the first new generation of people that they hired 25 years.
Oh, really?
So we're working with, ladies and gentlemen that had, 30 yeyears seniority there. Right. And
wow.
we're 20, we're wet behind the ears. Yeah. So learning that culture, you're just like, it can't be it. So we had the ability to work in the morning, get our production done. And then, so my partner, John, he had a landscaping business. Another one of our buddies had a roofing business. Every side hustle you could think of. Yeah. So I got invited to a network marketing meeting, because that's what TLC's business model is network marketing, a company called ACN. So I went to that. It was a business opportunity. I remember going there. I had my work boots on, my your work gear, right? Yeah. I just got out of work. My buddy was bothering me to go. Uh-huh. And so as we're walking, it was in the Van Dyke Hotel over there. I remember it like it was yesterday. We're walking in, and the owners pull up. One pulls up in a Lamborghini, and one's in a Ferrari. And I looked at my buddy and I said, I'm not selling drugs.
Right. I don't know what we're going to here.
Yeah, I don't know where we're going, but this is not me.
Yeah.
I just got off the assembly line, buddy.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not,
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I still remember that. I was just in. So we get it, and he's like, no, we're not doing that. So we get into the meeting, and I obviously was listening, and it made sense. And I met the two owners because he actually went to high school with them. And they looked larger than life as far as their dress to me and the cars. I mean, stuff I've only seen on TV.
Yeah.
And but they were the two humblest people I met in my life that looked like that. Yeah. They were just super cool, super humble, and so they just took me under their wing. And fast forward, they just taught me everything that I knew about the business model.
Yeah,
and it's really just personal development.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, from what you explained, for sure.
Yeah.
What I love though is your first product, and it was early in the .com.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
I joined that company and I learned everything.
Yeah.
The internet hits. That company started to slow down. Theirs was not products; it was telecom. And in that point in time, I started going online like everyone else. And what was sexy was a liquid nutrition. Liquid vitamin.
Right.
So I cut
it. What shocks me too is it's so when we think that 25 years ago ish or it's so normal now. And nutrition and supplements and liquid supplement or what have you and all that, and it's so like, but that's especially online. Is like that wasn't happening.
No, and online back then you could just
dial up too.
Dial it up, turn it on, put an ad, and people just start buying or calling because it was so new.
Right. So
I didn't really have the MLM business model for the NutriBurst was our first product. I was just selling it. Right. I was just selling it out of my garage. But what happened was I had to cut a deal with a manufacturer because everything's minimums, 5,000, 10,000. So finally I got the guy to give me like 1,500 bottles on a consignment all the way in Utah. He shipped them to my house, and that's how we got started. Pallet showed up, and took it downstairs and started bottling it and shipping it out.
And were they literally calling at that time? They were calling to place orders.
Yeah.
I love this.
We didn't even, it was so strange back then. You didn't even have a merchant account online. I think we used PayPal or something strange like that. It was just like, it just worked. It was brand anything, the world sees new, they all jump on, right?
Yeah.
So that started us. And then a friend called me and said, hey, I have network marketing software and you could put it together with your product and you'd have your own little company. And I said, I don't know anything about programming or anything like that. He said, no, I'll handle all that. So he kind of handled that end. Then like 2 months into it, he worked on a SWAT team. He was a character, but he was a coder too, right? Yeah. So 2 months into it, he's like, my wife said I can't do anything on the side. I'm out, right? I swear.
My wife shut this down.
Yeah. All right. So now I had software and I had one product, the liquid vitamin NutriBurst. So we just started. I recruited my mother-in-law. She came downstairs in between watching the kids, started helping me shipping, and then we had 2 phone lines, and then plus, remember the call waiting?
Yeah.
The hard lines.
Yeah.
So this is 99, 2000, 2001. So
I'm just envisioning like, hold on a second, you're clicking over. And it's so funny.
Call waiting.
Yeah. It reminds me of my dad was a doc, and it reminds me of when I was 13, I had a choice. My dad was like, you're going to do one of 2 things. Yeah. You're going out and getting a job, cut lawns or whatever, which I did do that a little bit. But he's like, or his office in Detroit was like up on the corner. And he's like, or you're coming to the office and I'm going to have you do something, whatever.
Yeah.
So, because I wasn't probably cutting enough lawns, I had to go up there. And back then, there was basically 3 insurances: Medicaid, Medicare, and Blue Cross. And they were a plastic card. The patient would bring in the card, the old like credit card that had like the, kind of that you could feel the braille.
Oh,
with,
yeah.
And we had to zip, zip.
No, I remember that.
Zip, zip, zip. And so my job was to take these forms because this is how they got paid.
Yeah.
And zip, zip. And I'd do this 1,000 times, over and over and over. And it's like, when I think back, like, that was, then they put them in the mail, and that's how they billed, and they would get, so it's just so funny to think archaically like that. That's how we are operating.
And it wasn't that long ago.
No, this is, I mean, that was probably 30 years ago, 35 years ago, but still, I mean, we're not talking 50, 100 years ago.
No. So we start, obviously I think everyone's familiar with the basement. It's the closest thing to a jail cell. I mean, we only had a window up there.
Yeah.
And we had this one corner of the basement. We'd bring the product in, take the calls, bottle it up, and ship them out. And we made every mistake that you can make and wrote a book how to make more.
Yeah. That's great, though.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So we'd go to Ford in the morning, and then we would come to my house probably about 11, 12, start packaging, taking phone calls, making up fake names as far as the customer service rep. Yeah, you had to.
Well, you're starting.
Yeah, and people were calling, and so our famous one was Frank Rizzo. Remember Frank Rizzo?
Oh, of course, from the Jerky Boys.
Yeah. So we had Frank Rizzo, and they would call us Frank there, and we'd be like, no, he's on break or whatever.
Right.
We had to do everything that you could think of because this was before, because we were in a house running this business, and this was before you could find out where everybody lives.
Right.
Google Maps. This is before all that. So it was one time, somebody said, hey, I need to come visit you. And we were full, we had distributors and customers and we said, okay. And everyone was a little nervous. I said, hey, we're running a home-based business out of a home.
Right. Yeah.
And they came in and, they presented a product to us. They're like, this product, which is our cleansing tea, they'll take you to the next level. Lo and behold, we went and had to cut the deal with the manufacturer, make the product. And those people, probably a month into it, they're like, oh, this isn't for us. And they left. Mm-hmm. So since then, we sold probably 300 million packets of that tea.
Really?
And they never got a nickel.
And they said it wasn't for them.
It wasn't for them. They named the product and gave it to us and left.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the reason I bring that story up is because there was so much of that going on back then.
Well, no one knew what they were doing.
No.
So if you weren't a hustler, you didn't have your heart into it, probably, right? You're just gonna fall to the wayside,
Yeah.
That's wild.
Those one of those, as you're going through the journey, that was one of those stories. And so from 99 to about 2007 or 8, we were in the basement.
Yeah.
We got comfortable.
Yeah.
We really did. We were in a routine. And if you remember back then, 2008, that was a little bit of a housing crisis and stuff like that, right?
Sure.
So our business went up. We were still working at Ford, coming and working. The house next to me foreclosed, cross street foreclosed. So we started using those as parking lots. Because we kept growing, and I'm like, okay, well, and then finally, you
got in trouble, and then you had to
to be honest with you, the neighbors were pretty supportive of it.
Yeah.
They knew.
Yeah. Well, you were so young and you're hustling, so they're probably like, these guys are.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. That's
and we had
cool.
2 neighbors working for us, so that didn't hurt.
Yeah.
So we, but we finally we were in a routine, and then we got, we're like, we gotta do it. We gotta get in a warehouse, right? Yeah. And so those steps in life are scary, right? Those little, and then you get pushed out. And I remember walking in that warehouse, and it had little offices, and then the warehouse, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so big. Mm-hmm. This is I'm gonna take on rent. I'm gonna take on a lease.
Yeah,
you're taking on more. And we only last there 2 years.
Because of growth.
Yeah, because of growth.
Yeah.
So it's. I just remember those times in your internally, your stomach or your heart, where you're like, oh, I got to do this, or do I do this, or
the anxiety.
Yeah.
But I just talked about this on a previous podcast. You're operating though when you operate in a fear-based mode.
Yeah.
You operate then in not really critical thinking.
Yeah.
Where you were doing good stuff. I know your heart, you're a great guy, you're hustling, you're doing the right thing for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And making a choice that was more critical based on love or based on something you love or goodness.
Yeah.
For humanity and, in general, usually ends up working out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you're in fear mode, critical thinking doesn't work and you kind of do some wacky stuff.
No. Right.
Or you don't do it. You freeze. You just, we're not going to do that. That's, too much. And then you get stuck.
Yeah. It's a different mindset for sure, but obviously we're faced with the other side of, like you said, it's I'm scared, or I don't believe enough, or whatever that is. And what I always just kind of to get through that, because let's face it, you're going to have it. We're all human, right? You're going to feel a little bit of the anxiety or nerves. And I think I faced mortality where it's like, we're not here, we're here forever.
Right.
And don't get me wrong. Everybody wants to make sure that they're taking care of their family's taken care of. You have food every night. You have a nice house and a nice car and all that. But I've just been able to push myself through that mentally using that mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. You probably, because you have me, you probably have, just to let you know, you probably have about, 9,000 days left. Most people your age have about 7,000.
Right.
Yeah. And this is legit, by the way. Those are numbers. Those are real numbers.
Those are real numbers?
Oh, yeah. I know all these things in my head. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not making this up.
I love it.
Yeah. But is that scary, though, kind of sounding?
It is.
9,000 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I'll get you likely into your mid-80s, 90.
Yeah.
Maybe beyond even, but that's quality. Health span is what we work on. And good. But what's funny is when I say sometimes to some of these things, being serious in the office, that's what it is. So you better get to living or you're going to get to dying. That's, meaning, you don't want to operate too in fear and, and set a path, set a purpose and all that because it goes fast.
No, I agree.
It goes fast. Like you said, like you on the line and even in your 20s, and a lot of that is just mindset. But you said, there's got to be more.
Yeah.
And thank God you did.
Yeah. And I hope, and I've done podcasts and, in our business model where I'm always on stage, I'm always giving the speech of, motivation or help or mindset. And I really hope that we reach as many people as we can just to change, their mindset and their beliefs, because I just feel that as a human race, we just have not reached that potential yet. I think we're going in the right direction. And I think we're going to get there where we're really going to be able to take care of everybody in the world, their mind, their body, and their spirit. I really believe that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it's all here.
Yeah.
It's all just like having the right kind of focus and intent. And I totally agree. Totally agree. Love. And that's why your stuff works. That's why TLC works, I think, and why you guys are so successful in that. So, love it. So, I do this in the podcast always kind of bring up a quote and I like to get your reaction from it.
Yeah.
I think you'll like it, but and kind of how this might, kind of influence your life or that. And is balance is the secret sauce. Finding balance is combining the science of desire with wisdom of recovery. It's by Dr. Ann Lembeck. Mm-hmm. So the balance of combining the science of desire with the wisdom of recovery.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Is that too deep for you?
No.
You can say it is.
No. I believe in that. At least my take on that, or the way that hits me is that, especially what I go through is the balance of everything, right? You have your family, you have your business. Yeah. I have over 150,000 distributors, which consider to be the TLC family. And so there's a lot going on there.
A little,
right?
Couple plates spinning,
right? Yeah. So when you have humans involved, you have a lot of emotions, and you have just a giant pool of energy that we call with all these souls, right? With all these TLC people, aside from my family, my wife and kids, and then obviously just the day-to-day work, right?
Yeah.
And so I like that, because if I don't find a moment in the day to find that balance, and balance to me is to shut that down.
Yeah.
I try to do that at least once or twice. I'm not serving them well.
Yeah.
You
don't show up for them.
You don't.
Right.
And I look at it as I'm in a serving mode. And you just can't if you don't shut it down. Right. You gotta shut that down. And then I think that balances you out and brings you back to earth. So no, I love that.
Yeah. Well, it's just, to me, it was, and why I liked it so much is it is exactly what to me, how it hits me is that, yes, it's very wise to recognize we all, and I don't care truly what age you are, how smart you are, economically where you're at, your place, socioeconomically, we all have to have recovery.
Yeah.
Because when we have some recovery or some peace, it's kind of like that time out to not just be grounded with ourselves, but to I like to believe that humanity is good, and most of us, want to do the right things and want to show up for people and for our community and for family and for loved ones, etc. And it's hard to do that when you're just constantly grinding and in the, fight or flight mode, you know what I mean? And me, the, kind of practice I have, I see people in the fight or flight mode all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
you diagnosed me with that as well.
Did I really? Did I use that term?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to bring you down, Jack. We got to bring you down. We got to dial you back. You got to dial you back. You know what I mean? I think that was when you asked for your cape back, and I said, no. I'm hanging the cape up there just for a little bit. We're gonna need a couple of weeks or a month to where we're gonna tone it down. Yeah. And Jennifer thanked me, by the way.
Yeah, I bet she did. But so that's what I was telling. I just flew in from West Palm, and my partner texted me yesterday. I think it was. He said, "Hey, are you all right?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm doing great. What's wrong?"
Once he got your heart rate monitor on his watch, and
he's like, "I haven't heard from you," and again, I just shut it down. And it's really easy to do, obviously, there with the sand and the water, the ocean. But he recognized that, right? He's like, "Is everything okay?"
Right.
I'm like, "Yeah, I just turned it down, turned it off." Yeah. And you could do that, and you have to find those places. I'm not saying you have to go to the beach. It does help. But so if I'm not there, or you got to find it. I think I do it alone in my office or wherever. I think everyone has to do that.
Well, yeah. Our team, to bring Longevity Health Institute, deliver what we want, what our intent is, and to do the best for everybody, for our patients, and there's thousands. Not that I personally take care of, but in our practice with all the other practitioners, our leader team, when we sit down. Every quarter, we always talk about that we each have to take clarity breaks. Clarity breaks aren't for necessarily even the business. It's just so that they're good. And it literally, it's a checkout. It's like, and we literally check in with you, kind of keep each other accountable. Like, have you had a clarity break this quarter? Like, or how many? And it's meant to, like, literally, whether it's your office or a vacation or a coffee shop or whatever. And to do that a few times where, like, you have an hour where you're just kind of downshifting and just making sure that you're on the right path for you, for your life, for your family, for everything. And because most of us don't do that. Most of us just keep day to day to day to day to day. You don't get to where you want to be by not knowing how you're going. And I think that helps a lot of people. And I think that's great. I try to tell my kids that a lot. I don't think they listen too much right now.
No.
They got to get a little older.
Yeah.
The oldest does, I think. I'm like, make sure you're like, what you're doing and where you're going.
Yeah.
Because I wish I felt that way at 25.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't really think like that.
No.
Didn't have that. But, also my prefrontal cortex wasn't developed till 26.
Well, that's why I try to tell our team as well. And some people, you almost sounds, I don't want to sound bad, but you got to tell them what to do. Yeah. And what I mean by that is if they take your clarity break, what does that look like and what should they be doing in that? And I said, listen, just look around, look outside. Yeah. I mean, there's birds, there's trees, there's a lot going on. And if you could focus on that and realize like this, you're not here by accident.
Right.
So just enjoy this moment, try to focus on, I believe, nature. And that will really ground you pretty quick. Mm-hmm. And they people love to be told what to do. They really do. If you can give them.
Not my kids.
No, not my kids either. Yeah. No. Kids don't. Yeah. But people want advice or they.
No, I know you're saying.
They want, what should I do? What do
you think?
That's what I do to you at the clinic. Like, what do I do?
Right. This is true. And then I tell you what to do and you do half of it. No, I'm joking. Not joking. But since you're bringing this up, okay, good segue here. So I don't even know. How did you find me, by the way, in practice? I don't remember. Oh, another patient?
Yep.
I don't. Okay. Yeah. I wasn't really sure about that.
Yes.
Okay.
John Littell referred me.
Oh, I know. Okay. Now that rings a bell.
Now that was years ago.
Yeah. I got you. Good guy. I got you.
Yep. I was the staple at the what town was that? What's the clinic? The old clinic that you closed on me.
Oh, you mean in Madison Heights?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I love that place.
You did? Oh, you liked it better than our Rochester and Bloomfield or Bingham Farms place?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
It was authentic. It was one of the first.
Yeah.
I'm like that. I'm East Side, right?
Okay.
Yeah. You had the fish tank.
I had the fish tank.
I love that.
If I had space, I'd put the fish tank back.
I know.
I'll bring it back for you.
I love that.
Yeah. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but I will bring it back for you. In the IV room, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny that yeah. Well, what happens is just like your basement is growth happens, where are patients coming from? I mean, we were there. I was there in a section of that building, in a very small section for about 5 to 7 years, and then we were there for another 7 years, and we took over the whole building.
Yeah,
and but we outgrew that event, and then a lot of my patients started coming from more like the West, and I had to make choices, what I'm doing just because of where people are coming from.
Yeah, no, you did it right. I love the new clinics, and I had so many great memories. Yeah, because it was
we were also even me younger.
Yeah,
and so it's always funny because you look back and you're like, well, first of all, I had hair. So that's always nice.
Yeah, I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. So your memory is still good. That's good. Yeah. So, but tell me though, in our audience, just, and we can still banter about it, but, but I mean, what's your experience been with Longevity Health Institute's approach, with this like kind of wellness 6-point model approach where we're, thinking beyond your visit, we're thinking, tell me your experience.
Well, I think you guys are, you're ahead of everyone. And what I mean by that is I think what you're putting in place is going to be the norm.
Yeah.
And you're just so far ahead of the norm. And so my experience has been great. I mean, I love everyone. I love the live, the live speech that you did in Birmingham.
Oh, our events. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I love May 12th is our this year.
Yes.
You are still invited.
And well, thanks.
Yeah, you're still invited, and your family.
Yeah, and I believe that I talked you into 2 events. Yeah. Events are
yes.
Events are good. I love that. Yeah. So what you're doing, I believe you guys are about 25 years ahead of everyone. You're relating to the community. You're creating a community and culture. You're cutting edge as far as what's next, what's coming, where are we at, what works, what doesn't work. You do all the think work out of that for us. It's just so it's strong. I mean,
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
I love it.
But to me, it's so innate because you have to always think of in medicine. I'm speaking of medicine and healthcare, and that it doesn't work. The Band-Aids don't work. It's no different than business.
Yeah,
any business model. The Band-Aids don't work. You're putting out fires. You're just surviving. It's like the saying, you don't want to die from the disease.
Yeah.
You want to live with it, which sounds like very weird, but we're all going to age and we're all going to get stuff. But if we expand our health span and make us well and work on functional systems, we can thrive through all these decades, continue doing beautiful, good stuff, but it can't be just Band-Aiding.
No.
It's got to be looking at root issues and functionality. And whether that's hormones or nutrients or diet or peptides or gut health or lifestyle stuff like, hey, decompressing and better sleep. When you incorporate all those in that kind of preventative approach, I truly believe, your quality of life, and I see it in the practice, is just going to be impacted immensely. And as well as your family, like I see your family and your family, et cetera, because all these things get, kind of passed on. It becomes the norm.
Yeah.
It becomes the norm. And it's exciting because, it's why I got into this. And I like the merging of Eastern and Western medicine, the integrative approach, meaning people get this misconception about, with health, wellness, longevity medicine, whatever you want to call it, functional medicine, holistic medicine. We're not going to take drugs.
Right.
We're not going to take prescriptions, pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
We're not going to potentially do a surgery. We're not going to. That's absolutely wrong. Those are all good things. You have to use it. You have to fix the system and optimize everything to get this outcome, and a better outcome and a better quality of life. But that's how you do really true prevention.
Yeah.
True prevention. And one of the things, I don't even know if I said this to you before. So I thank you, and this is kind of weird that you have brought your family, because that makes And that's what one of my big things is that it's kind of a family approach. In the sense, what I mean is because then it's going back to the home. There's more consistency. And even though we're making fun of our children, but like the teenagers hear these things, maybe they don't pick up on it. But in their 20s, they're starting to do it. I'm sure you've seen a little bit of this. And next thing you know, it's like, my own daughters who, when they're 10, 12, dad's nuts and, all this organic food, whatever, dad, I'm going to McDonald's, all that kind of stuff. It's their norm now. I mean, they live on my oldest 27, she's got her own house, her own life, whatever. She's, very, whole food, gluten-free.
Eats clean.
Doing, and because that foundation was laid in it became the norm.
Yeah. And well, so going back to the family, now you're affecting generations.
Yeah.
So that's what I love. Another thing that I love about the whole practice, you created that culture and community, and it's going to fall back on all of our kids. Yeah. And naturally, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm blessed to fly around and deal with people around the world and see things and hear things that you were doing years ago. And I'm like, oh yeah, my doc's already done that. Yeah. We do that all the time, IVs and stuff like that.
Yeah. I always get the kick out of, and I say this, by the way, full respect, but I always get these texts from some of my patients, and they have my cell phone and they're always like, we end up becoming usually pretty close, and they end up like randomly sending me something like, hey doc, do you like, I think they think they're like hitting me with something like, you got to try this out. You got to do this. And I'm like, yeah, it wasn't needed for them. So maybe I didn't introduce it, whether it was, at the time in a certain IV, whether it's a certain hormone or a peptide or a certain, and I like, we already do that. Yeah, we have that. Yeah. If you want it, we'll talk on Monday.
I've been one of those guys.
It's like, oh my gosh. But that's cool. And I try to be cutting edge, doing the right thing and real good science-based stuff, but just that it's cutting edge because, there is a lot of advanced things. And I go around to conferences and work with other physicians in the longevity space and all that. And it's always growing. You got to have an open mind so that you have a bigger toolbox.
Well, no, but I love your approach. Let's be honest to the audience. I'm one of those guys that's always pushing. Hey, doc, I want to feel like I'm 18. But I do love your approach. If I do bring something new or if I see something, you're always like, I heard of it. I'm waiting to see, I want some more clinicals. Yeah. You wait to see if there's evidence of that it could help.
Well, because there's a lot, especially in, as we were talking about .coms and, social media and everything like that. And I'm not poo-pooing a lot of it. Some of it could be very legit and all that. But you got to look at, because a lot of stuff could just be, salesy and, it's in vogue. And then we hear some, negative effects, or everything I believe in the healthcare space, in a functional medicine approach, in a wellness approach, has got to be personalized. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like even though we're brothers, you're not me,
right?
I'm not you,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
Meaning like and you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like I had a good friend, patient, known him since high school, and my point to this is seen a doc, very healthy guy. Yeah, doesn't drink, quit drinking years ago, doesn't smoke. Not overweight, works out very intensely. I mean, very fit. And sleeps good, eats good. I don't like lifestyle. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's
nails
like, pretty much. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because, he came to me for the longevity stuff, from the preventative stuff, and I've known him for years, and he's telling me all the stuff he's done with his just, GP and internist. Yeah. None of it's wrong. It's the standard of care. I'm not knocking it.
Right.
But I'm like, well, we're going to go a little deeper because we look at everybody personalized and risk factors. Okay. I if I don't know some data points and stuff, how do I make you better? Anyway, quick of the story is this. He is somebody that we would not typically, society and statistically, think of as having severe coronary artery disease. He's 55. This is today. I got his result on his CTA of his heart, and he's got severe coronary artery disease. I'm going to work with a cardiologist, obviously, and we're going to do some of our interventions, and we'll see if he ends up needing a stent and all that. But he's the kind of guy that either has a heart attack, a big event, or drops dead at the gym or whatever. Yeah. And because we didn't think of this gentleman as in a personalized way, just like, well, you don't fit the really space to where we need to dig deeper. So you're fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You look good.
Yeah, you look good. You look good. You get it. I call it the Pope's blessing. You look good.
Yeah.
All right. Have a nice day. You know what I mean? But, so we go a little deeper anyway. But you have to do that. You have to look at everybody in a personalized way. And I think that when you do that, you really risk stratify well. The other thing too is you're not alone, Jack.
Right.
Everybody wants the cape.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, well, I do like to be like 18. I want to feel like I want the cape. Pretty much everybody wants the cape.
Yeah.
If we're going to give you energy, I always say this, you're not going to drop dead on my watch because I gave you the energy. We gave you the tools that supported your systems to be energetic. Yeah. And, and you're at the gym or you're doing something or whatever, and some bad event happens. So there's a purpose to it too, because, you can create trouble sometimes.
We're good together. I keep pushing, and you have patience.
It's just true. Well, you're my only patient, remember?
Right.
Yeah. So you get high focus, man, all the time, So, but listen, I would love you to share some of your experience in, your travel, like in the, cause you were Wordly in TLC's, many countries. But like the difference, I'm just curious, it's just for our audience, the difference in what you see from a health and a preventative or like a healthcare perspective, in other countries versus ours. I'm just curious of your insight into that.
Yeah. So I'm blessed. I look at it as a blessing. I travel around the world. We had at one point 14 different offices, including Moscow and Kyiv, Ukraine, until the war and before the war, and then before COVID. We were in Hong Kong, Central and South America, pretty much every country. And being able to fly down there again, learn the culture. Because it's totally different. It's kind of funny, and I think every person in the United States should fly around.
Oh, because if you can do it's about it changes your mindset. Oh, changes your mindset.
Yeah, and the value. Well, first of all, they can just go to the store and get the prescription. There's not an in between insurance or doctor.
Gotcha.
And even then, I'll tell you that what I noticed is they really rely on I feel like they're all in the 1950s, the way we were, right? Like they have their own gardens. They have, yes. They do all their own, apples, oranges, tomatoes.
Simpler life.
They simplify it. Mm-hmm. The food tastes a lot better outside the United States. It's another great subject, which I think is going to change very fast. And you feel healthier. You're not bloated. So it's the mindset. They look at things different. I believe you can actually feel it. Yeah. Here's the other thing globally compared to the United States is that, again, going back to my 1950 theory, is at nighttime, everyone's out on the streets. What is it? Wednesday?
Yeah.
Like the streets would be full. Everyone comes home from work. Maybe they have a small bite, and then they go out and socialize. They'll go to the coffee houses. I mean,
and so they're moving around.
Yeah, they're moving around. Yeah. They're very. I'm talking all the countries I've gone to. Everyone is. I don't go to hotels and sit.
Right. You don't turn on Netflix. You don't.
No, because they're like, hey, let's go. Right, we got to go out and we're going to socialize. Yeah. And it's usually a dinner or a beverage or whatever. But you're out walking around. And I noticed that they're very social. United States, we're Netflix or
you get home, you're stressed, you're probably overworked.
Yeah.
The typical individual eat, you lay on the couch, maybe fall right asleep, but also just turn on the TV, veg out on your phone, scrolling, etc. And it becomes the norm. So much that it's almost odd it shocks me, by the way, because it goes against every grain that's out there in the sense of economically, gender, you name it, we're all doing this, in age, generation, you name it, we're all doing it. And when you bring it up to somebody, because I have this big thing right now when I'm telling everybody, because it makes a big impact on your insulin resistance and helps with weight loss and blood sugar control and so healthy for you. And there's studies on this that document like less cardiovascular disease and everything is just after every meal, walk 20 minutes. And literally, but people don't want to, afternoon sometimes at lunch at their job, they'll go on, you know what I mean? But it's like, they go home, they have a meal and they're tired, and I get it, you know, but also you wouldn't be as tired if you just went on a walk.
Yeah.
And I know here today it's 5 degrees. So that's a challenge.
It is.
It is a challenge.
It is.
But you can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, the truth is you can bundle up and do it. Most days aren't 5, you know, and you get fresh air and you get sunlight in your eyes, you know, if it's in the morning, et cetera. And it's so it changes. When people actually do it, they can't believe that their energy's up, their weight's more controlled or down. And what we know medically is that their blood sugars are more stable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you brought up a big point, which is part of the blue zones, you know, the blue zones, that book, and how that's been studied, that people, the most centenarians and living at 100, et cetera, and very healthy, huge community people, meaning they're out socializing, you know. Granted, it might be with a glass of wine. No, but very little, by the way, wine. But my point, though, is, no, seriously, that they're out. So they talk about community and socializing, and it's a big part of their existence every day.
Yeah. I mean, I anywhere I go, I'm always invited out, not just because I'm there.
Yeah.
That's just what they do.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, if you say, no, I'm just gonna, stick it in tonight, and they're like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Are you okay? You have a fever?
Do you need us to call a doctor?
Yeah. Right. That's so funny. That's cute. Yeah, you're like, look, they're looking at you like you're some alien.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But what I have noticed, though, the North is different from the South in the United States. Mm-hmm. Just in Florida,
right?
Everyone's out.
Yep.
Out and about.
Yep.
So you just know where you are, and you'll notice things.
Yeah, habitually. I could see that. Yeah, totally. It's funny because my wife is English, and I know you know Victoria.
Yeah.
I mean, born and raised in England, in the south of London, and she does this still. And at first I thought it was really bizarre, you know, but she'll go to Whole Food or, you know, one of our local, we're fortunate enough to have it like within a mile or two of our house, and she'll shop for a day or two. You know what I mean? She'll go get fresh stuff and get stuff for a day. Not many people do this.
No.
You know what I mean? And at first, you know, I was kind of like, you know, sometimes I get like, babe, like, hey, we're on blueberries or on like whatever. She's like, well, I'm going today. And I'm like, yeah, but can't you just go to, you know, Costco and load up like, you know, for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's not fresh. And
no.
It's not, you know, these big volume things and all that. And it's interesting because it's so innate to her. But to me, the way I was raised obviously wasn't like that, the local market and all that stuff. And it does make you eat fresher, be more conservative in volume of food, you know what I mean? And also be out more, just in general.
You're walking.
Right. Exactly.
So the other side of that is, guess what? Now you can have your stuff delivered to you. You don't even have to go to the store.
Yeah, I know.
And you know, mm-hmm. So I get that. I mean, there's that level of convenience and all that. But if somebody took a page out of your wife's book, I mean, that's the rest of the world. They go out, like, you know, she's basically from European, right? So all of Europe do that. And if you don't do that, like, you're gonna let something sit for 3 days, 4 days. It can't be good then.
Yeah, exactly. No, right. Well, right, exactly. You know, it's definitely some of the stories I have, I could tell you when I've been in Italy with her and in England and stuff. And I have traveled a decent amount, not like you, but, you know, I've been around a little bit. And what's funny is, even though I know what we're talking about is pretty kind of getting to, you know, it's pretty typical of European or, you know, and it still shocks me. You know what I mean? It still shocks me. I'll never forget when I was in Italy once from our hotel, I need some Tylenol or something, you know, acetaminophen, which they call it something different there. And I'm trying to think of the name. Anyway, it'll come to me in a second. My wife, because she calls it still that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I go down to this little market and it was tiny. I mean, tiny. And this guy is in this Italian guy's in there and he's sweeping the floor and had fresh fruit and all that. And I didn't know this, but at 3:00 they have a version of a siesta.
Yep.
Where they take a little break, you know what I mean? And whatever, you know. He starts yelling at me. He's like basically shooing me away because I got there and I was like, can I just get, I'll buy some fruit. I'll buy some fruit. And I was like, and what was funny, he was very nice and he was kind to me and sold me my Tylenol that I needed. Probably from too much red wine the night before. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because in Italy, you know, I want to behave like them.
Yeah.
You know, so why not? Right?
When in Rome.
Exactly. But anyway, it was funny because he was really adamant about come back. He wanted me to come back in a couple hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was closing and he was having his little siesta, and that's what he does. And but they're also, like you said, they're open and out in the streets, and they're, in the community and all that. So anyway, as I digress, but I want to ask you a couple more specific things. Because I know you love our intravenous things.
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind me asking about these things. No, but talking about this. But our intravenous therapies, I do them almost myself for years. Almost every 2 weeks, I'm getting some kind of IV.
Yeah.
I'm just curious between, the IVs, like the vitamin IVs, high-dose vitamin C, kind of a Myers cocktail, if you will, multi-mineral stuff, NAD, Plaque X, chelation. I don't know if I've ever done ozone with you.
Yeah.
Did ozone? Okay.
Yeah.
So you've had a little bit of everything.
Oh, yeah.
But I was curious your experience with any of those and just what changes it made for you. And obviously there was very personalized purposes why we did this with you, which we don't need to get all the details. But what did you feel, or how was that impacted in you?
I'm that guy I want to push, right? I want to feel it.
Right.
I love the IVs. I'm on a plane probably once a week, so I will try to do the vitamin at the very least. And which I have noticed, I fell in love with the Plaque X lately. Mm-hmm. And you held me in there. You're like, just keep going. It's not gonna be this, but you're gonna feel it after a while.
Yeah. Well, phosphatidylcholine is what it is.
Okay.
Which is it'll lower cholesterol. It's a lipid carrier essentially that it binds to lipids. So it has some ability to actually even remove soft plaque out of arteries. So it'll help some of the soft plaque removal anywhere in your body. But also we use it a lot for brain health.
I text you. I said, Doc, I'm in love with this. I have like sustained energy, and you're like, yeah, good for your brain too.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad I'm consistent with my messages. Yeah, but it's true. I mean, it's. I have, depending on the individual. Sometimes we have to work on vasculature and circulation for the brain, etc. first. But a lot of times when you talk about recovering myelin of the brain and helping brain health, and getting those neurons to have some neuroplasticity so that they, can form memories and you can learn things and you can kind of, your frontal lobe can work a little bit better. It's a great molecule and a great substance. And obviously anything intravenously is into the bloodstream versus orally that you break down and not as powerful, But I also think, if I remember right, there was a point you really loved NAD.
So I still do, but look, I have a question for you. Now, all IVs are in both clinics? You could do all, because I only go to the Rochester.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want you on that side of town.
Right.
You stay on the east side.
It's very rare.
Yeah. Well, if you're on the west side, just something in the vortex of the city and the community starts to feel a little shifted.
And I can feel it.
And you feel it. Yeah. We feel it. I just want to let you know we feel it. No, but it's the same. Yes. We have about 8-10 chairs in each office.
Okay.
They run basically the same. Don't worry, you're not left out. I don't have a fish tank at the other office.
Okay.
So if I get one, I'll get the other. Don't worry.
Right. So the NAD IV, I love.
Yeah.
I truly do. And when we first started, I would sound like a guy that's always looking to feel something. I felt it, right? Yeah. Obviously. And it's sustained energy. And then the feeling kind of went down.
Yeah.
Right. And then I learned, you told me my pools are full.
Well, yeah. I mean, because you're going to feel, it's like takeoff. It's like a plane. Yeah. I always say this. If you're low on something, just like a plane, when it takes off, it's like, woo, we feel takeoff, just like we feel the landing because it's such a decline. Meaning if you were getting ill or some nutrient depletion or they went off a hormone or you changed some therapeutic that you really just dropped, you're going to feel that. When you're good and coasting at 10,000 feet or 30,000, it is what it is. I mean, you're going to feel good. You're good. There's no problem. But you're always going to feel that takeoff. And, you it's good you're not on coke. And the reason I say that is because you like that stuff.
I wouldn't stop.
Yeah, so this is good. We're going to make sure we keep you away from that.
I'd be chasing the dragon.
Yeah, exactly. No, but it's true, because I'll give somebody, we like an actionable with all our patients, and if it's done right and safe and do no harm. A lot of times the first visit, I'll give people like B12 or an NAD shot or, a vitamin D shot if they don't take it and I suspect they're very deficient, because it's going to really help them, obviously, but it's going to be a big impactful effect that usually they feel. And because they're so low, I will tell you that the next visit, a week or two, they come back and you'd have thought I performed a miracle.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God, that was amazing. They're not going to get that every B12 shot they get. It's just because their pools are up. We filled all their, their cellular pools. And,
I've experienced it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like where I'm like, oh, the doc is the genius. What's next?
I gotta keep working on my mad scientist things that you might be depleted of.
Yes. But I do the NAD injections.
Yeah.
So I kind of think I keep my pools filled that way,
which are super important because of your stress effects.
Yeah.
Truthfully, people don't realize this. There's a lot of radiation when you fly.
Oh,
yeah, flying causes more radiation than you get when you're literally getting a chest X-ray.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. Don't worry, we all fly. But you want high antioxidants. You want a lot of things that help your DNA repair. NAD will do that. And by you traveling and time changes and all that stuff, NAD and other things like melatonin, if ever needed, but NAD is going to help you make sure your circadian rhythm, your sleep patterns are as optimal as possible.
Right.
When you get into big, time zone shifts, it's not perfect, but it will help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nicotinamide adenosine dinucleotide, NAD is just, it's super important. Most people, if their pools are low, we fill them, they feel it. And it's just an aging thing. It's an age-related thing. It's one of the cofactors in our mitochondria, like our little engines in our cells that do a lot of work. So I'm not surprised. I have a few other secrets I'm keeping from you.
I can tell.
Just so I can keep you around.
I can tell you're watching your words.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna bring up the cocaine thing again. You're gonna be like, is that possible can we do that as a supplement?
But I do love the ozone.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I do.
There was a reason for that, and I can't recall why with you at that time. Was it post-COVID? I don't remember.
No, I like it all. So you're like, okay, give it a shot.
Yeah. I'm working on it. There's something else that's coming. We're going to be doing plasmapheresis soon, which is a blood exchange.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that, but that's got some huge benefits, similar to what we do in the office, but it's kind of like an added benefit that is very similar to an ozone effect.
Okay.
But even better.
And then what's when I get that in the office?
Molecular hydrogen.
I love that stuff too.
Yeah, molecular hydrogen. It's so the hydrogen with the oxygen that you're just breathing in is a carrier for the oxygen to transport through your blood-brain barrier and diffuse in your body more. So it's really an oxygen therapy.
Yeah.
But you get huge immune modulation, and you get huge effects with reduction in neuroinflammation. So when you calm it, like you might a lot of people, like my wife, loves it because she's prone to like migraines and headaches, and since COVID, she's had some. Medically we say it neuroinflammation, but it's just her head sometimes feels not great. She's easy to trigger a headache, which she never was like that before. She's a glass or two of wine, not even drinking much at all, and she'll get like a headache, and she never was like that. And molecular hydrogen will take it away. Our migraineurs, and this is a note for people at home, magnesium, insufficiency and depletion is so common that people, replacing magnesium can really prevent migraines. But we can have people that have had migraines for decades. We'll have them come into the office when they get their prodrome, they start their migraine. We give them a magnesium shot or an IV. You probably have been in there with people like this. Yeah. They come in, they get a magnesium shot or an IV. We put them on molecular hydrogen for 10, 20 minutes. Headache's gone.
Wow.
Which sometimes those people would suffer for 2 days with a migraine. Whew. Yeah, so it's we love it. And by the way, it's just amazing. It's super safe. I believe that molecular hydrogen, because it's an oxygen therapy that creates decreased neuroinflammation, which is the root cause of the base of dementia and cognitive decline. So even Alzheimer's and putting tau plaques, amyloid plaques in the brain, the problem with that is it creates neuroinflammation. If we have something to bring down that neuroinflammation, you can prevent cognitive decline. You can help dementia, help memory.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel it after I get it. So my protocol is I go into the IV room, I get my nice little chair, I get my blanket.
Oh.
Yeah.
Get your whoopee. You got your whoopee?
Yeah.
Does Mary give you a sippy cup?
I have to ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have wonderful nurses, so they're very attentive.
Yes.
Kathy and Mary are very
amazing.
Yeah.
So I put the oxygen thing on, I get my arm ready, get that all hooked up. I'm good to go. I'm in another world.
Yeah.
I actually kind of use you.
Yeah.
I use your office.
Well, it's for a good purpose,
right?
A higher purpose.
Yes.
So doing good stuff on the outside. As long as you keep doing that part, we'll keep doing our part.
All right, right.
So no, that's cool. That's cool. I love it. So one question that I want to ask, just because we were talking about balance, just life balance and all that. Do you have a couple simple routines that you do that are kind of musts? Like these are like must do's or must haves, so that you can be you, that you can still, because you're a high level achiever, but also a lot on your plate, a lot of responsibilities, a lot of people looking at you, up to you, etc. Is there something like, hey, to yourself, you're like, hey, these are non-negotiables. I have to keep this good and do good. I mean, so that I'm good.
Yeah. Well, but I think the main part in what you just said is paying attention to it. And what I mean by that is I've started off my morning a certain way and hit a home run, like feeling wise, and then say, okay, wait a second, why change it up? You just had a great morning the morning before. Let's do the exact same thing. You're going to experience the exact same thing. So that would just consist of obviously getting up, having water right away, and paying attention. Okay, like let's just get in a little bit of a cadence. Then obviously starting with the supplements that I get from you. I probably do half of my supplements and then probably have a coffee, sit down, check email real quick. But I'm quick to notice I have to shut that off. Like I'm just, any emergencies? No. All right. I'm done.
Yeah.
Then probably get into usually the sauna downstairs. I got a sauna. I'll go down there with my coffee without my phone on purpose. And then go into my gym where I have the red lights.
Yeah.
And then I'll rotate off, and I have the vibrating machine.
Yeah.
So I'll rotate.
Vibration plates.
Yep. Yeah. I'll rotate off of the red lights and that with some weights. And then I try to get to Orange Theory, which is a gym.
Yeah.
And it's a circuit training. No matter where I'm at in the world, they have Orange Theory, so I try to get to those because you feel great. If I just do those small things, then maybe I'm just leaving out, the simple time of meditation or just reflection or just paying attention to nothing.
Yeah.
If I do all like those, I mean, it sounds like maybe a lot, but I can knock that all out in an hour, and then I'm good. It's a home run.
Yeah.
We do have the outside cold plunge, which froze over.
You didn't bring it in?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I brought mine in. I have one that last year I got. It's called Plunge.
Yeah.
That company. Great. Loved it.
Yeah.
Wanted it outside by our garden pool and all that stuff. But I'm like, could I have kept it? It's got a, filtration and flow in it. So, but they do say if it gets near 20, under, it could freeze.
Yeah.
So I'm like, ooh. So I brought it in. I put it right next to my sauna. But, that was brave of you in Michigan to leave it out there.
No, that had to do with we're all boys, and I have 4 boys.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So it's all macho. Let's just leave this thing out.
Oh yeah.
Let's. We see it on social. We could do it too.
Yeah.
And actually, there was a woman like in Flint or something. She did a cold plunge outside all through winter, and she documented it every day.
Yeah.
And it was pretty interesting, and it was kind of cool to follow. But anyway, so that's ours froze.
But I mean, it was up working. You had circulation. You had
and then
it's just too cold. It's just you got too cold, right?
I got too cold.
The pipes, yeah,
everything.
Yeah, I empathize.
Yeah, so that I would include that in the morning. I love that. Anything to feed the senses.
Do you do that? I mean, I know you travel and stuff, but do you do that most days of the week? The cold plunge, or what is or do you like a few days a week? I'm just curious. What works for you?
When it was working outside, what we would do is at least 3 days a week. Mm-hmm. And again, and I say we because the boys just love getting involved in that, like to see who can stay the longest, or we'll get into a good little rhythm of cold plunging, going downstairs to the sauna, red lights, and we would rotate. Just try to have fun with them. And,
I love it. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. I do very similar thing. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Heated gym, sauna, cold plunge, same thing. I'm just smarter and brought the cold plunge inside so it didn't freeze. But I'll put it back by the pool. The funny thing is when I first got it last year, my nieces and nephews, we had a 4th of July party. They're all over. People are over and stuff. And, people are all enamored. Like, can't even believe, like, you go on a 42-degree thing and you do this for like 5 to 10 minutes. Are you crazy? Well, so I'm like, so my 10-year-old nephew, hockey player, by the way, good, great kid, beautiful kid, Shay. Dad, ex-NFL, player. NHL, excuse me. Gosh, NHL player. So I'm like, well, Shay, you can do it. And he's looking at me, and he's as big as my face. He's a little guy, 10, you have no mass on you. But I'm like, if you get in there for 30 seconds, I'll give you $20. Right. Well, eyes are, he's going to be $20.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
30 seconds. I thought, no way. Because if they put their hand in, and he went in there it was like nothing. So I'm like, I'm in trouble. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta make it up the temp here. I mean, up the time on this kid. But it was funny. But he did it like nothing. I couldn't even believe it. Yeah.
He pulled it off.
He pulled it off. Yeah, right away. I couldn't believe it. But anyway, so it's fun and great for you. My experience with it is, and this is the science, but I kind of paid attention, and I kind of probably overthink this. It's great for anti-inflammation. I feel like it helps. I got a bad neck, fractured it, got a plate in there from years ago. Long story short, it helps that immensely.
Wow.
But I don't think I get the same muscle effect if I work out, lift. You need inflammation. You need to tear that muscle down and repair when I cold plunge right afterwards. So I try to like do my cardio and then cold plunge. If I lifted weights, I don't, but that's just me. I'm not trying to, create huge mass, but it's like, I just feel like I do better, feel better that way. But it's interesting. But I do firmly believe in the cold plunge. In fact, actually, between that and the sauna, this fall, I've never been I'm around so many sick people, flu come in the office. You name it, COVID, I'm treating on and off still, and knock on wood, but I, haven't had anything. I mean, I really believe that between the sauna and the cold plunge make a huge difference in your immune system.
No, I believe in that. But I also, it's been a hot topic.
Yeah.
Through, a lot on social media, a lot of,
but it's not new.
It's not.
Yeah. No, it's not new. In fact, my brother-in-law, Chris Mueller played NHL hockey. He played Michigan State, won a national championship, etc. When I got a cold plunge, he's like, I've been doing that for like 20 years. Like, and by the way, in the 60s, 70s, football players, the NFL, they'd get in these things and these ice baths and all that. It's not really new. It's just that we know we have some science and why and what it's helping.
Yeah.
It's in vogue, so it's on social media and all that. And so then more people do it. Like, I would really think like, is that worth it or whatever? But once I heard and understood the science, Wim Hof, I don't know if you know who Wim Hof is. I read his book. He's like the cold king. Yeah. He's it's an interesting gentleman. That's Wim Hof. It's called the Wim Hof method, his book. And it's basically a lot of breathing exercises with, he's a big cold advocate. Cold showers, cold plunging, all this stuff. He's a little bit of a mad scientist. Interesting, he did a lot of his studies and PhD and stuff like that at Michigan State University. Wayne State University in Detroit, which is odd because he's from either the Czech Republic or something like that.
I think I've saw some of his videos.
Yeah. But the amount of time and stuff has he done. That his book was out, and so that's kind of when this kind of all some of the science and stuff came out, is because he brought to the forefront the knowledge of what these extreme temperatures hot and cold did for the immune system and did for your body and recovery and, it really, really important. And then into the, if you will, the longevity space, the preventative health space.
Yeah.
So kind of cool.
Yeah, but I like your philosophy on it. And not just the cold plunge, but all of it is listen to your body.
Oh, for sure.
You listen to your body. Mm-hmm. These are things that are being recommended. I saw this one video of it, this one guy, instead of because there's some guys out there like, wake up at 5, I'll meditate for 15 minutes.
Right.
3 gallons of water. And this other guy came on and he was just like,
that's a job. If you overdo it, it's a job. It'll stress you out.
Yeah, that's your philosophy, right? Like, listen to your body. Here's some recommendations. And if that morning you miss it, it's that the world didn't end.
Right.
Right, so
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Don't stress out about it. Listen to your body, and I think have fun with it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So my last segment here, I want to. It's called my Black Book segment. But first, if I'm gonna just ask you, because I never, you shoot me these bizarre texts all the time.
Yeah.
you don't even stumble that one. You're like, yeah, I do, I know. So, but any questions you got for me?
No.
You've already asked me enough.
Well, we have a relationship.
Yeah. So you're like, no, I'm good. So anyway, so the Black Book segment is this. This is my journal of many things, science things, mind, body, theory things, just, kind of brainstorming things. You get to look into these are one of them. I've got several of these. And you ask me about it. What you can say, hey, Doc,
what is this?
What the hell does this mean?
What were you thinking?
Now, if you can't, what am I thinking? What is it? And again, you can grab whatever grabs your mind or attention, and we'll explore it. But if you can't read it, I'll read it for the audience because I do have Dr. Scratch
for sure.
For sure, you can tell.
And look and this is kind of funny. This is falls right on to what we were talking about a lot of. You need sometimes to find yourself from the mindset and habits that stop you from growth. Yeah. Do you remember writing that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right.
I mean, that you looks like you're in the early parts, so that might have been a few months ago, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So what made you, or were you reading something, or?
Probably, I can't recall. I mean, but I will tell you this. You can have all of these principles. Mm-hmm. Me, by the way, personally, but also the patients that I, impact and teach, and then the practitioners that they're impacting their patients and teaching and showing them and giving them guidance on our 6-point model, on the, whether it's hormones or toxins or mind, body stress or structural stuff or, genetics. You can have all those,
Right.
and you can even, have them in your repertoire, meaning the supplement, the doctor or practitioner gave you the hormone, told you what IV to do or whatever. But if you don't have the right, mindset that might, you got to set goals. Mm-hmm. I think we're big goal oriented. The funny thing is this, because I see you and talk to you kind of so much and through text and on the fly, most patients, not Jack Fallon, but most patients, once or twice a year, we actually set goals.
Yeah.
We which by the way we can do, when we're off air.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I set goals like, hey, what's your goal this year? Like what's the issue? More energy, not sleeping good. How's your gut? Maybe you're too stressed, and I'm not a therapist, but maybe I can direct you into the right type of therapy or what we need to do. But we set goals, and we set metrics that we're tracking from the past, and so they know where they were and where we're going.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? That lays the foundation for the mindset of good results in health and in wellness and in true prevention. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of us, because it's not normal to do this, and we're looking for the Band-Aid or like the quick energy or whatever. So you have to pump the brakes a little bit and kind of just go, okay, am I gonna follow through this? Am I gonna make myself accountable and do these things that are the real issue, that are gonna achieve these goals?
Yeah.
And where I want to be. No different than if you're saving money for retirement.
Yeah.
No different than if you're, hey, we want to go on this vacation, so we want to save this amount of money for the year. It's just you have to, and so it's just I think the mindset is everything. Like, why are you here? Meaning when they're sitting in front of me.
Yeah.
And what are our goals?
Yeah. And you're right. It is a total different mindset. I'm pretty sure that you shocked people with those couple questions.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I actually, you would hear, sometimes I hear weird stuff because they come to me because they have a big issue. Yeah. They have a disease. Yeah. They've been scared by something. Some other doctor told them or something happened. They had an event or whatever. And which is all valid, meaning that I can understand why they're, shocked or they're worried about their health or they're in a little bit of a fear mode. And so when I say, well, what are your goals? Or, I just want to make sure I'm addressing what you want. I'll tell you what you need. And when I get metrics back and biomarkers and all that, I'll tell you what we're going to do. But I want to, because sometimes they haven't even told me the whole big picture.
Right.
Sometimes, the funny thing is, sometimes they'll go, well, I want my kids to go to college and or they look at me square, like they're like, what are you trying to do? Yeah. Are you trying to hack my brain here? What are you trying to do? And I'm like, no, this is good healthcare. Yeah. This is like what it's supposed to be. Exactly. Yeah. This is the way, because some people, I've also been shocked before because when they kind of get me, and this is usually a woman though, is they'll go, I really, really, really would like to, be more comfortable or safe at home or like I have a lot of stress at home in my home life and all that. And again, I'm not a therapist, but that's huge because that could impact why they're tired, why they're not sleeping. Yeah. I can give them, again, whatever they're missing, but we have to address that lifestyle thing and that mindset, that psychology, or get them on the right path for that. Yeah. So it's really interesting But that's just huge. That's huge. And I have to tell myself that a lot. I have to we do. I have to tell them I have to pump the brakes and have a clarity brake and go, what am I doing? Yeah. Why am I doing this? And for the right reasons. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, and I love your transparency and we've known each other for years now. I think I've been a patient like 10 years or something crazy. 10, 15 years. Mm-hmm. I can't wait till the next live event though. I'm going on stage. Enough's enough.
I'm bringing you up.
Yeah.
May 12th.
Yeah,
I'll bring you up.
All right,
I'll bring you up.
But so, and I, I've been around, and you've always been transparent with what I love, your personal life as well. Let's face it, you've lived life, and you've had your ups and downs, and you're open to people and letting them know, like, sure, I'm a doctor, but I've gone through this. Yeah. I've done things, So, my question, to go back to, you said, do you have any questions? Is that did you see the life that you have now? Did you manifest this? Do you believe in manifesting?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I didn't. I wouldn't say I intentionally did. Somewhat I did. I'm a visionary, so there is some truth to that. I somewhat did have. I believe in manifestation. Yeah. No question. And that's why I think it's so important to be focused, and also when you're knocked down, get up, because you'll still get to where your vision is, and that don't give up. Yeah. But I had a simple, nothing major, but to me major at the time in my mid 30s, some health stuff that didn't make sense to me. I was told, you've heard this story. Yeah. I think I spoke on stage before. It's on my website, etc. But that just didn't resonate with me enough to where I'm like, what I'm doing for patients isn't enough. So that was my paradigm shift of like my mindset, and then seeing results in not only myself, but then even just the first few patients that I started implementing some things, and then some studying I did and a fellowship I did, and all these things that I went into training and research and deep diving into. And there's no question I had a vision of like, I am changing what I'm doing. I don't care what the result is in my personal life or whatever. In fact, actually, the funny story is, and we're close, my ex-wife, literally, she now even says, "Oh yeah, when you got on this, I thought you lost your mind." Yeah, I
remember that.
I literally thought you went crazy. Yeah, and she tells us, right at that, she remembers where we were, and I'm like, "You remember that?" And she's like, "Oh yeah," because I was kind of scared. But yeah, so I do believe that kind of was a manifestation of. Important for me because I believe we're all happy and content if you're on a purpose-driven life. Yeah. And if you're doing things for the greater good. And that's what the goal was. The goal was, if I'm going to practice medicine and impact lives, I'm not just going to band-aid it with drugs. Yeah. And I love that because I felt like, and I feel like it, and I know other
patients, if that's our names. I don't even think that we are patients. I think we're part of the family.
No, family.
Yeah. So, and I think that they noticed as well. Like I was in Madison Heights. I was in the IV room when all the jerseys were hung up. You know what I mean? And I just felt a calm feeling in that Madison Heights. And that's probably why I love it so much, right? I felt a calm feeling, and then building the relationship with you and watching you transform it from Madison Heights to two just state-of-the-art clinics. And not that Madison Heights was bad, but state-of-the-art where you're on the cutting edge. I said you're about 25 years ahead of everybody else. This has got to be the norm. Even more so, you're going to, push that envelope even more and make it just so normal. I'm just proud to be along the journey with you because I've watched it. I mean, we didn't have like intimate conversations of what you were going through, but I could just see it growing, and I just loved it. I love to be a part of it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, especially you being patient one.
Yeah. 001.
001.
That's 001's a big thing in my industry. They always want to be 001.
001. You are that. 001. No, anyway, I appreciate it, man. Love you, man. You're the best, man. Thanks for joining us here.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. This is great. Probably do it again.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me. I love it.
You're doing good stuff too, man. I want to keep doing what you're doing and doing good stuff.
And I think we just got to support, like I said, as a human race, we're in the right direction, I feel, of making sure we can take care of the world and get better treatment, live longer, and live better lives. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for joining us here on the Deep Six podcast, where we make a generational impact on you and yours, and really helping your health span and not just your lifespan, and just trying to bring the best for you to thrive. So we'll see you again here on the Deep Six.